Welcome everyone, Marcelo is my name. I am the niche fragrance collector, and for those who know the channel, know that I love to do research. I love to unbox certain aspects of the brand, also meet creators, meet the actual brand owners. Had an opportunity to meet both Ramon MONEGAL and his son Oscar in Cannes last year. We were in conversation, and in this conversation the word came up, which is Sine Qua Non. At the time I thought, I don't know what that means. I speak Spanish, but I have no idea. We were speaking in Spanish. And I sort of said, like one more time, because I missed what that means. It's a Latin word, and it means without, which not. Did some research on this, and it's a legal term. And it was used to say that without this particular item, then we can't proceed, or this is a prerequisite to achieve the task. In the conversation that we were having, this was natural ingredients. I had mentioned that I had just come from Grasse. We were picking jasmine in the field, and this inspired the conversation that there are certain natural raw ingredients that are needed in perfumery. Yes, we need aroma molecules to create and accentuate certain notes, but not in the place of a beautiful natural raw ingredient. And this was the sine qua non that Ramon was talking about. One of them is oud. And in this case here, the oud that he uses is from either Assam or from Laos. Let me begin with Oud on Fire, the one that I became addicted very quickly. And I'm embarrassed to say the reason why I picked it up first is because I like the name. Think of Alicia Keys' Girl on Fire. There's something, visually I can see this intensity, this oud that is, radiating power. And so, yeah, such a boy. That's why I chose it. But I'm glad because it's glorious. That's why. Now, the one thing about it is that when it opens, the best way I can define it is potent. I actually wrote different things. I wrote down potent oud, I wrote down powerful oud, I wrote collection of oud intensity, too much. I'm gonna call it potent. So it opens up with this beautiful, potent presence. It has a collection of these different notes, and it's not overtly fecal and it's not animalic, but there's a lot of intensity that comes out on that opening. Spicy, woody, balsamic sweetness. There's all these different pieces that sort of emerge really quickly. And you just have to be ready for it. Recently, I went out with my son, Nelson. He came over to the house. I said, choose something. I had already been wearing Oud on Fire for the day. It would have been about 4 or 5 hours deep. He sprayed it. He's like, whoa, that is intense. I'm like, yeah, but it settles. Smell me. And he's like, yeah, you smell good, but whoa, that is intense. He chose something else. We went out into the city and it was cold. We were rugged up, had a few layers of clothing on. We went for dinner. Later that evening, we caught up with Sandra, my wife, and her friend Lee. Now, Lee is a wonderful lady who joined us last year with her husband in Italy for our 9-day fragrance tour. As I went in for a hug and said hello, she's like, ooh, you smell good. I'm like, all right, see how good you are. What am I wearing? What is it? She's like, oh, you smell like Italy. You smell like oud. While we were in Italy, we did smell a number of different brands. We did smell oud, and we were in these wonderful locations. And for her, the fragrance conjured up this sort of dark magic about it. The fragrance has beautiful evolution. Potent is definitely where it begins, but then as it migrates through, it does go to this beautiful, sweet, balsamic place. It has a woody effect to it. There is this balsamic nature, and then finally when it dries down, it does now go to that spicy, oud, woody place. I get a slight powdery feel to it. There's no notes of iris or anything of that nature that I can see, but I get this gentle sort of like a powdery effect. It has a gentleness to it. There is cinnamon on the opening. I don't detect the cinnamon as clearly as I do on the base. When it finally dries down, I'm getting that slight spicy cinnamon effect along with the oud. Be aware, oud is its entire journey of the fragrance. Never does oud disappear. Sometimes I find some fragrances have oud on that beginning and then it just sort of washes itself down. Whereas here, oud is always part of the journey. Recently, I had another situation where a good friend of mine said to me, I love oud fragrances. I said, well, wait till you smell Oud on Fire. This is gonna change your world. I went, pop, And she went, whoa, what is that? And I'm like, it's Oud. It's an Oud fragrance. She's like, whoa, that is so strong. Ooh, that's really, it's kind of stinky. And I'm like, well, it's an Oud fragrance. It has those particular elements. So this is not, and I say this respectfully, this is not a tourist Oud. Sometimes I find there are some fragrance brands out there that say that they put Oud in their fragrance, but I don't know. I don't know. Whereas here, you are getting a very clear Oud, distinctly animalic touch to the fragrance that is divine, that is absolutely glorious. I find that the fragrance has great staying power. 12 plus hours, but in reality, 24, no problems at all. You wake up in the morning, you'll be smelling Oud on fire. And when it comes to its projection and sillage, I feel that it's a confident moderate. It pushes out really, really well. As I mentioned, when we were in the city, caught up with Lee, had lots of clothing on because it was cold, and yet the fragrance was pushing itself forward and making itself known. Something that is absolutely divine and a big recommendation. And one, if you want to start on the journey when it comes to this, cool name. So I would start here, and plus the fragrance itself has great presence. I mentioned that Oud on Fire has been my early addiction. This is my new addiction. This is Soul of Oud, and not that Oud on Fire is not being used, 100% being used, but lately this has become my fragrance, and I'll show you in a minute what that means exactly, but any opportunity to wear Soul of Oud, I'm just like pop. And the opening is divine and glorious. Think of Bocanera, where it has that oudy chocolate, but Bocanera is intense. You got to be ready for it. You know, you're going to get punched in the nose if you're looking the other way. Bocanera has this intensity, whereas Soul of Oud is a sweetheart. It still has Oud, not for tourists. All three are not for tourists, but there is something just sexy, divine, luxurious. It plants a beautiful kiss on the side of your cheek. And interestingly, there's no. Sometimes that people put in like, oh, the perfume puts in a chocolate accord or something like that. There's nothing that I can see. There's nothing listed other than 2 Ouds have been used here. One is the Assam, which traditionally is very punchy, very fecal, pungent, intense, whereas I'm not getting that. I am getting that Oud sensation, but not the stinky barnyard. And then there's also Laos, which normally has that leathery, sort of more slightly sweeter, woody effect. And it is magic. It's interesting, Sandra, my wife, has a radar for both Oud fragrances and leather fragrances. And a lot of times she's like, I don't like that because of X, Y, Z. She's always complimenting me on this fragrance. And it's interesting, and only today did I actually say to her, because I asked her, you know, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And when I came to this particular hand, she's like, that's nice. It's got a caramel, chocolatey sort of vibe to it. And it does. On a dry down, it's sexy, it's beautiful. On the opening, you are getting a very pronounced Oud sensation. It does come forward with a very Oud touch. You can't mistake that. There is that chocolate effect, but think of a dark chocolate now. So a very rich, dark chocolate as opposed to anything milky. I just love wearing this fragrance as my day-to-day fragrance. I have a system which I love adopting, which is either reach or use. And the idea is that I have to, I'm the niche fragrance collector. I'm always wearing a fragrance. There is no day that I take a day off. And not because I'm not doing research, it's more because I just enjoy wearing perfume. And so my reach is where I always pay attention to, because reach means that this is now something that I just want to enjoy. It's purely hedonistic pleasure. And of late, Soul of Oud has been my easy reach. The other day, we've been painting our house. It wasn't the other day, it's been like a month-long exercise. As I was going out, I wanted something that was going to be warm on my skin. I wanted something that was going to be like a bit of like an internal heat, or something that I could smell and sort of fortify me. Soul of Oud was my choice. Now, Sandra took this photo. It was unbeknownst to me. I was just on the ladder and doing my thing, and I had sprayed it on me and on my arm. And I think something happened, and I smelt the fragrance, and I'm like, oh, I was going in for the I love you, you know, sort of smell. She did take the second photo. This one I was aware of. So this was the setup. She's a good wife. She was preparing lunch for me. And every time that she looked across, she could see me smelling my arm or smelling myself. If Oud on Fire has that spicy, fiery nature to it on the dry down, then Soul of Oud is now the ember. It's that beautiful glowing, warm ember in the fireplace that is radiating, in this case here, the joy of Oud. And it's just it's a grounding effect. It's a warming effect. There is a warmth that comes out of this particular scent profile. And that chocolatey, sweet, caramel effect that's there is divine. When it comes to its sillage and projection and performance, I find that Soul of Oud is spectacular, similar to Oud on Fire. 12 plus hours, but in truth, 24. You'll wake up in the morning with it. When it comes to its presence, I find that it's a little bit lower than Oud on Fire. Soul of Oud is still confident. It's still in that moderate, both in projection and sillage, but I find that Oud on Fire has a lot more push. If you're going out to a large area, Oud on Fire is the one you would take, whereas Soul of Oud is something that you would now have as a day-to-day at the office, or something that you would take out to a restaurant, for instance, or as I mentioned before, for amorous situation. The last one. Alhambra Oud, what's this about? So the name Alhambra is in reference to a palace in Granada. There is a long history with the Moors and Spain, as Morocco's just there, where they would cross over and try to conquer the Spain mainland. During the 11th century, Granada, or this particular location, was home to the Alhambra Palace, and this is where royalty was. And what Monegal, or what Ramon has tried to do here, is create an olfactory picture. He wanted to create something that was regal, something that embodied, in the way that he said it, that every corner you turn, you would be smelling oud somewhere in the air. And for me, I'm gonna say this is the most powerful of the three. If you like oud, this is the one that you would lean into. According to the official notes, oud is on the opening, in the heart, and in the base. Oud is always present. Oud is always present with these babies here, but there are other things that are happening, whereas I find that the oud really, it envelopes the entire fragrance. Interestingly though, I'm not getting what I was anticipating. I find that on card paints a picture, but on skin, it actually sort of evolves much nicer. I am wearing it today, so this isn't the fragrance of choice, and I'll tell you what my dry down is, but on the opening, I want to tell you about this because you're getting a crisp apple. You're getting this crispy, fruity sensation. Actually, compared from the card, I just got a lot of oud, whereas here I'm getting like a fruity aspect. I am getting like a white floral aspect. I'm getting the oud 100%. Here's a bit cool. I was hesitating to say it or not say it, but I'm going to say it. I've always mentioned how much I love Alexandria too, and it's true. I love it. Before I started, I did spray it again. Let me say it like this. If you like Alexandria 2, I would strongly recommend check out Alhambra Oud. There is something here that is a lot more regal, a lot more just sophisticated, and the more respectful to the oud note. Yeah, so I would test it out. I know that it has some similarities, but I would really check this one out because there's something different going on here. And really, this also connects you so beautifully to the universe. There is something quite grounding when it comes to this particular fragrance. The one thing that I do find is that the fragrance is a little bit, to say linear sometimes can be deemed as a negative, but I find that it does have that sort of, the expression of where it is what it does for the fragrance. Even on its dry down, you are getting a tinge of this sort of floral, this white floral indolic sort of nature that sort of blends so beautifully with the oud. You are getting a touch of sweetness coming through. Some people have actually put it down to raspberry. For me, I've got green apple in my mind, and so I'm still getting part of that sort of that crispiness of the apple. I do get a leathery effect, and this is where I am now. So once it dries down, you are getting a slight smoky, leathery sort of feeling to the fragrance. Let me just give you this. With oud as its crowning glory, glorious fragrance. And I really, as an olfactory picture, I've seen the images of the Alhambra Palace. and its design, the Islamic architecture, and it really does. It's quite transformative. In smelling this and then seeing those images, you can see a correlation between the two. When it comes to Alhambra Oud, it's another fragrance that has beautiful potency and presence. 12 plus hours, again, fill the gap, 24 without a problem. And then its sillage projection does fall in more into that confident moderate. It does have really great push. I mean, I sprayed it again now. It's now dominating everybody. And the opening, that slightly apple effect that's happening there is divine. Really, really impressive. There you have it. 3 fragrances that have a beautiful oud note. Sine qua non. Without it, it would be something completely different. I would recommend, if you want to start somewhere, I really like Oud on Fire. But if you want to sort of go with what Sandra likes and what, her response, then Soul of Oud is just a sublime fragrance. You are wearing an oud fragrance, but it's a lot more now playful and a lot more, you do get that chocolatey vibe. And if you really love oud, please, I insist, check out Alhambra Oud. It's glorious, and it's something that is just wonderful to wear all day long. The last thing that I want to share is the presentation. For those who know me, you know I love beautiful packaging. So here is the box. Let me show you this. So the Ouds have a sleeve that goes around it. But I remember when I got this, I mean, just look at it. It's just a very cool looking collection. I think I've mentioned before, I never throw away my packaging. One, it houses the fragrance. I sort of rotate them through. I was putting back in their original packaging. And then when you put the actual sleeve on, it actually sits like a book on a shelf. It's gorgeous. Anyway, personally, they've done a really good job when it comes to their packaging and how it all looks. I'd love to hear your thoughts when it comes to these Ouds and other Ouds that they have in their collection. They've got a number of others. In particular, can I just say flamenco extract? The difference between that and the Eau de Parfum is just sensational. I will be sharing more on all things Monegal, so if there are fragrances that you're enjoying, I'd love to know, and that way, well, I can continue to explore. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you guys all on the next episode.